Most people are building property portfolios wrong. And I don't mean this like just everyone that's mum and dad people. I mean, even buyer's agents are building property portfolios wrong. You look at people like Jack Henderson, their property portfolio is so far negatively geared, it is unbelievable. Like, without the huge business behind him, his property portfolio would absolutely crumble. He would literally just have to sell the property portfolio and it wouldn't be very good. If there was a market correction and he had to sell his property portfolio, he would be fucked. My name is Thomas O'Regan. I have an 11 property portfolio and I make these videos to help people get educated on investing in property here in Australia. Now, my personal property portfolio, me building the property portfolio from start to now, I've done that on a very, 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 very low income, which which has forced me to adopt and use methods that most everyday investors don't use, because most everyday investors are people that are already making quite a large amount of money. But me, I started investing with a small amount of money and I started investing with a small amount of income, and I just used investment principles to grow the portfolio to where it is now, and that is served me very well to get to this point. So basically, what those principles are, and I'll talk about them more later, is cash on cash return, cash flow, and capital growth. If you get those three right, nothing else matters. And what I see a lot of, people that are making a lot of money on high incomes and just have excess cash, these people are buying into these assets that are highly negatively cash flowed. The reality is, if you are not on a huge income, you should definitely not be buying property that are highly negatively cash flowed, because it's going to be so painful for you. There's already a cost of living crisis. For you to afford to pay a mortgage on an investment property that you're not even living on is going to really suck. So the reality is, the housing market's going up in most areas at the moment, but it's not always like that. What happens when when the property market has a correction? How are you going to feel then when your property price is not only going up and it is still costing you a fortune to hold on, and you're in a low income? I mean, honestly, even if you're on a high income or a low income, but yeah, even if you're on a high income, why should you be buying properties that are negative cash flowed anyway, if you can get the same, if not better result buying a positively cash flowed properties? And it just comes down to the research you're putting in to buying properties. Okay, so what I just really wanted to talk about today was the housing market in most places right now is fairly strong. But what happens when it's not? Yeah, and the point is, if you own a property and it has a correction and it is negatively cash flowed, which is how most people buy properties. They look for properties which they don't really care if it is negatively cash flowed or not, because they have the hope that it's going to go up. Now, everybody wants their property to go up, and if you do your research properly, the most likely will. But, there is a slim chance that it won't go up, and there is a slim chance that there might be a market correction, which no one can really predict. Like COVID happened, market correction, no one knew it was coming. It just happened. These things happen. But if you're buying a property that is for the only reason of it going up, you're gonna put yourself between a rock and a hard place if you want to hold it through that period. Now, my property portfolio, I'm not just buying because I want it to go up. I'm not just buying properties because they're going to have a lot of capital growth. I'm buying properties, yes, because I want them to have a lot of growth, but also because I'm getting a cash on cash return. And the one I want to stress most is because they have cash flow. Because the reality is, doesn't even matter what is happening in the property market, you will easily be able to hold your investment properties if they're cash flowing positive. Because the reality is, if your property is cash flowing positive, then you don't even need a job. You don't even need to be working. You could lose your job. You could go on holidays. You could do so many things, and you can still hold your property. So that's how I recession proof my property portfolio. There's so many other benefits to buying a property with positive cash flow. Like, it helps servicing, meaning because when you're investing in residential real estate, your servicing is based on your income, and your rent, the rent generated from a property is considered income. So every time you buy a property, if you're buying properties that have extremely low incomes to the level of debt, like you're buying a property, say it's costing you $1 million and it's just renting out for $35,000 a year, that is a very low yielding property. Alternatively, you could be buying a property that costs you $300,000 and it could be renting out for $26,000 a year, meaning it's generating like almost a three times income compared to the debt level you're taking on for it. So think about that. A lot of people just say, "Oh, I don't want to invest in cash flow positive properties," because they think about all these assumptions with the cash flow positive property, like it doesn't grow, stupid things like that. But the reality is, you can get it all if you know where to look, and you can get it all, and it will be a safer option in the end. Investing in property is about mitigating risk, and you have to look at investing in property through an investment mindset. If you're looking through an emotional mindset, it's not going to end well. Anyway, guys, hopefully this helped, and I'll see you next time. Bye.